So the latest episode of Saturday Night's main event was nuts. I tell you, my friends, this is coming from me, not always in a good way. Otherwise though, hello my buddies, hello my pals, hello my brothers and sisters, welcome to Ups and Downs, the only wrestling review show you need, with me, Simon the Bald Idiot, and we did just have SNME, which sounds a little bit like a disease, so it's time to take the finger of power, and we give the good bits an up, and we give the bad bits a down, and then we fight. Sound good? Awesome, let's go. So let's get a general thing out the way before we do kick off the commercials. Good grief. Now, I do actually find it difficult to criticize advertising in 2025 because with streaming coming in and TV desperately trying to hold on, it was always obvious that these things were going to double or triple or quadruple, but we don't need to care about that. We watch it from an entertainment standpoint, and with that in mind, well, it was just way too much. Like, you could barely get through a match before. Have you always wanted to be a wrestler? Well, now you can go one step further and become the Lucha Referee.
A Lucha Referee?
That's right, the Lucha Referee. Part Lucha, part referee, coming to you soon from Mattel. Without some kind of commercial interrupting you, so I'm gonna give it a down. It was just a little bit laborious. Big word. When we did get to some of the best stuff on the show, though, because our opening contest was Seth Rollins and Bron Breakker taking on CM Punk and Sami Zayn, it was exactly what it needed to be. Because as soon as the bell rung, they did start to fight. There was no headlocks because they hate each other. That wouldn't make any sense when eventually we had Sami Zayn going against Seth Rollins. And of course, this hit you in the tum-tum with emotion because they were friends at the start of the year. And now look at them, they've totally fallen out. Him and Bron Breakker also used Al on the announce table to totally kill Sami. When I tell you, Breakker was throwing him around the ring, he started to do those push-ups. Now, one side of your brain is probably going, oh my gosh, he's such an arrogant Allen. Or, we remember his lineage, we remember his family background. He's a Steiner man. He probably thinks it's just what you do in wrestling, because Rick and Scott were totally obsessed with it. It was, of course, building to Sami Zayn getting the hot tag to CM Punk. Honestly, I don't know what's happened to CM Punk after WrestleMania, but this dude is even more over, and he was pretty more over before. But when he came out to make his entrance, you would have thought somebody had told the crowd, we're going to give you free pizzas for life. They were doing backflips. Seth was able to stop a GTS2 when Punk decided, all right, screw it, and he hit a code red of all things for a 1-2-ooh. Now, somebody said this. It could be a shout out to Darby Allin, who just climbed Mount Everest. Now, listen, I know everybody likes to throw shots on the internet. It's how many individuals get through a day, but there ain't no ifs or buts about it. Climbing Mount Everest is an incredible achievement, and Darby Allin deserves all the praise in the world. So if Punk was doing this, I get it. He was able to get the GTS in and go for the cover. Obviously, Bron Breakker broke up that, and then Bron Breakker was in there, and pedigrees were being hit on people, but Sami Zayn broke that up. It's your classic WWE tag match, where it's like, I'm your friend, so I'll help you, and he's their buddy, so he's gonna help you. 1-2-ooh. I don't know what we're talking about. Zayn also took out Bron Breakker at one point with a springboard moonsault, and I wonder if that was a shout out to Sabu. We will never know. When all of a sudden, I think they looked in the bottom of the screen. Hey, when you're not gonna believe this, guys, but we've all filled up our meters, we should probably go for our finishers. Sami was then going to go for his haluva kick when Seth grabbed the foot, that's a good way to stop him, and Punk spied this, and then he remembered it's 2025, so he did a dive, and that meant everybody was now fighting, so Paul Heyman got involved when, I kid you not, CM Punk was on the outside hanging out playing Nintendo when Bronson Reed decided, I think I'm over my injury, mate, and he ran at poor CM, and he crushed him through Barry Barricade. And of course, at the same time, Sami Zayn was a wrestler with other wrestling shenanigans happening outside of the squared circle. He couldn't handle this. He didn't know what was going on. So Bron Breakker speared the soul out of him, and he pinned him for the 1-2-3. It then got even better as well, because Bron Breakker was like, I will fight you, Mr. Bronson Reed, when Seth Rollins moved him out the way, and he gave Reed a big old hug. So that's strike one, as far as Bron Breakker is concerned, but we won't know for that a while. He wasn't clued up to this, and eventually he's gonna snap. Now, yeah, some people are going crazy about this, going, but wait a minute, Seth Rollins and Bronson Reed had that feud. Well, we have to wait for Raw, because there's so many ways you could explain this. One, Seth was like, he did try to kill me, so I'd rather have him on my team. Also, two, I hate CM Punk so much, even if I have to recruit my enemies, well, that's what I'm going to do. I ain't gonna start throwing shade before I have the explanation. Of course, Bronson Reed went tsunami crazy after this as well and basically made sure everybody was totally dead. And I think this is an inspired choice. I'm so happy Bronson is back. I never picked him as the third guy, but I'm a massive idiot. But whoever did come up with the idea, round of applause. So this really was a very good match, and again, I want to see where this feud is going to go, especially because at the end of it, Seth Rollins probably does become the World Heavyweight Champion. It is not 2 + 2 = potato. It does make sense. Up. When it was time for Chelsea Green versus Zelina Vega for the Women's US Championship, let's get the bad out the way first. Because the fans were just not into this, and it's not Chelsea's fault, and it's not Zelina's fault. We are just not doing enough with this championship, like it was born at the December Saturday Night's main event, and ever since then, well, it's just been a bit wishy-washy. It also tied in here because they only got 5 minutes, which once again is going to tell the audience you don't really need to care about this. And yes, towards the end, Zelina Vega went for a 619. She made a mistake and she booted Chelsea right in the face, and it sounds like she broke her nose. Now, I cannot stand some of the discourse here. I wrestle, and sometimes bad things just happen. You don't plan for it, you don't prepare it. You could be the best wrestler in the world, but then something goes hook-de-boo, and you don't know what to do, and that rhymes, so it must be true, so can we all just calm down? Ultimately, though, when you do throw it all into a pot, you do have to give it a bit of a down. Again, I'm not placing the blame on anybody's shoulders, but it was just a bit, I'm not sure this is working. Overall, though, the match was mostly fine. Again, we didn't have any time, so you couldn't really get into it. Although there was this powerbomb onto the floor by Chelsea Green, and because Vega is so small, I thought she may be dead. Chelsea also worked the chin because nobody wants to have a hurty chin. That makes all the sense in the world when, yes, eventually Zelina battled back. She did that kind of crazy 619, and she did hit this code red, basically from the ropes. That looked pretty badass, 1, 2, 3. There's also distractions from the Secret Service, which didn't work, which just takes that conversation and makes it even more confusing. Listen, the body of this was perfectly fine, there was nothing wrong with it, but we just need to give a little bit more love to this championship and ensure there's proper feuds that we can care about. Like Chelsea Green is damn entertaining, and she barely even cuts in-ring promos anymore. That doesn't make any sense to me. We will have to wait and see. Jimmy Hart and Bushwhacker Luke were then shown in the crowd, so there was your hit of nostalgia for the evening. When we also learned at that NXT AAA show, we are getting Chad Gable versus Vikingo. So if you're one of these crazy people on the internet, you better get excited. When it was time for R-Truth versus John Cena, and everybody seemed to hate this, or at least in the preamble, apart from me, I was so pumped. And I was justified in my dumb life right away, because after John Cena had made his entrance, R-Truth obviously made his, and he just copied John Cena verbatim, and he's even got his own John Cena merchandise now, and it says, Ron Cena, I am going to be buying that shirt. Dawn attacked him from behind as well, because he's an asshole now. And not only did he take this merchandise and throw it into the crowd, I swear he also ripped R-Truth's earrings from his ear and did the same. I'm sorry, that is way too much. You shouldn't be doing that. You don't touch another man's earring. We then, and I kid you not, had John Cena do his 5 moves of doom, and that must have hit R-Truth's go button, because he stood up, he hit the 5 moves of doom, and he applied the STFU. And just go and listen to the fans. You could feel the joy and then the entertainment in the room. That's all I ask from professional wrestling. If I dedicate some of my entertainment hours to you, make sure you entertain me back. He even got the AA before all of that for a 1-2-ooh. Not gonna lie, I was desperate for him to win because I have problems. When, of course, John Cena went, I am a massive dickhead, and he threw R-Truth into the ring post. Now, this essentially created some sort of shenanigan moment when he got his title belt, but when he looked at R-Truth, he wasn't able to do it. Now, we don't know if this is John Cena having second thoughts. The WWE is playing up to that, but the issue there is when the referee went to get rid of this championship, John Cena went, he booted R-Truth right in his groinal region. He gave him the AA. That was a 1-2-3. Once again, this didn't go very long at all. Of course, right after this as well, John Cena smashed R-Truth in the face with the belt because we have to hate him. I was a little bit confused because I thought he would have gone well in here, to the point you have the Simpsons meme of stab, he's already dead. So we'll have to see how all this plays out. But I don't know why, I just wanted to see R-Truth versus John Cena in this John Cena retirement run, and I got it, and I liked it, so I am going to give it an up. And just to make it very clear, if you didn't like it, that's perfectly fine, because trust me, there's something that's going to happen around about 10 minutes that I didn't like either, and you're probably going to get mad at that, so let's just shake hands and go for a pizza. Sound good? Awesome? I am giving it an up. And yes, to tie into what I was just talking about, John Cena did go and find Jey Uso in the back after this and was like, man, it would be a shame if you lost to the YouTuber, and then basically insinuated if Logan Paul did become the champion and John Cena retires with the other world championship, then his quest to ruin wrestling would have been achieved. I was like, John Cena, you ain't lying. He made it clear he shall be watching the match, which was very nice. I was like, oh man, maybe John is a good guy again. When we moved into the steel cage, Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest, and excellently, Jesse Ventura was on commentary. My gosh, do I like that. They just murdered each other as well because they were fighting even before the bell went down, which allowed them to throw a bunch of chairs into the ring. When, after about 2 minutes, Drew threw Damian into the steel, so Damian threw Drew into the steel. That's just the way with a steel cage. Imagine one day we have a steel cage and nobody uses the steel. we won't know what to do with ourselves. My favourite part, as always, is when they both start climbing it, because they basically become Mario from Super Mario World in Bowser's Castle. When we got a big choke slam from Damian Priest for a good 1-2-0, when Drew McIntyre and him were climbing again, and McIntyre decided, well, I know how I can slip you, Mr. Damian Priest, and he gave him a superplex. I mean, that was pretty smart. He also hit the Claymore, and Damian Priest did kick out of that, which I kind of felt like was a big deal, when essentially Damian was doing Claymores to him, so Drew was doing choke slams to him. And at this point, I was like, I do not know who's going to win here, when Drew McIntyre was like, I'm just going to do what I did at WrestleMania. He set the chair up in the corner of the ring, but when he went to do the Claymore, Damian's brain went, Priest, this happened before, I think we should move, and he did. What a smart guy. From here, though, Damian got that chair, and he took it and he basically crushed Drew McIntyre's larynx by stabbing the chair thingamajig into his neck when he was like, oh my gosh, 1 chair, 2 chair, 3 chair more, and he laid one under Drew's head, he got the other one, and he gave him the concerto. And fair play to Michael Cole, he even said, isn't that what he did to Edge, the original creator of the Judgment Day? I like a callback. It just meant that Drew McIntyre was dead, and he sold it like this too. When Damian Priest used the door to escape. Now, Jesse Ventura had a meltdown about this, saying, what a cowardly way to win. And Michael Cole tried to justify it, saying, yes, but he's done it, because he wants to embarrass Drew McIntyre. What a crappy way to win. I was like, man, we should not have said that. I understand what we were doing here. Quite clearly, WWE decided, well, don't pin him, because that way we can try to protect Drew just a little bit, because apparently a visual pinfall is worth it being thrown out the window. But having that caveat by commentary, it made Damian Priest seem like a goober, and Damian Priest should never seem like a goober, because Damian Priest is flipping awesome. Now, the rumor on the internet is that Drew may have to take some time off, so I hope he is okay. He was talking about his neck not being able to work properly the other day. But of course this was good, because these two guys just totally get it, and they have great chemistry, and they should be teaching science class. So I'm going to give it up and implore you to go and watch it. They just kicked each other's ass, but I do have to give the finisher down. Just the stupidest thing I'd ever heard. If you truly wanted to get a victory over somebody you hated, you would just pin him. Why would you care about embarrassing them? I tell you what's more embarrassing, the next time you see him, hey, do you remember when I pinned you in the best way possible in a cage match? But it doesn't matter. We can move on. More importantly, I hope Drew McIntyre's all right. When we got to the main event, and I should tell you to brace yourselves, because we do indeed have to get into it. I tell you, so kind of out-wrestled Logan Paul here, which makes all the sense in the world when Logan came back with a blockbuster and a dive, because it is 2025. Listen, he's been doing this sports entertainment thing for long enough, he should understand the rules. When Jay got back into this as well, he hit the hip attack, which is everybody's favorite move of the year. I mean, who doesn't do it? And then, yes, Logan Paul hit a very good-looking lion salt. I just want to make it clear here before people do have a meltdown. I do think Logan Paul is very talented. He quite clearly knows what he's doing in the ring. Jay came back with a pop-up Samoan drop, and it is perfectly fine, because I did my research and he is Samoan. And Logan Paul was so scared at this point, he was just flailing his arms around like a Bailey buddy when he grabbed Tina the turnbuckle, and because there was so much pressure, he exposed the steel, and the referee did nothing about this, because why wouldn't you want metal looking at you in the face? Paul then punched Jay with his loaded fist, or whatever the flub we're calling it, but when he went for the buckshot, Jey Uso super kicked him, which was really good, but then yes, when our world heavyweight champion went for the spear, Logan Paul had watched that Damian Priest match, he got out of the way, and Jey Uso went right into the exposed steel. I tell you, I had a conniption. Now that really did lead to a great 1-2-0, and I was passed out on the floor. And this is when Jay was like, listen, I'm just gonna hit all my moves and beat you. He did do this, when from nowhere the referee got pulled out of the ring when he was making the count, WWE's other favorite finish, and it's because John Cena had been telling the truth and he just helped Logan Paul. I kind of looked around this room and I was like, damn it, we have 100% just entered the Phantom Zone. But actually this worked really well because instantly Cody Rhodes' music hit and oh my gosh, did this building explode, and did I, because I realized I had missed Cody. I'm so pleased he's back. However, I do have to say, one of two things happened here. One, Cody only just arrived at the building, which made sense why we only just saw him. Or two, he'd been hanging out in the back and he'd seen all these terrible things that John Cena was doing. He was like, listen, I'm only going out there when I really feel like there's a need. Cody hit the crossroads on John Cena instantly as well to take him out of the game when Logan Paul tried to use the knucks, but Jay was like, nope. He hit the spear, he got the Uso splash. I'm not kidding you, in around about 3 seconds, obviously, Jey Uso had retained his belt. So this match wasn't that long either, and afterwards Cody did grab the microphone and he actually said, hey man, Mr. John Cena, I see you've now got a friend in Logan Paul. Well, my brother Jey Uso is standing here, so we are going to do a tag team match at Money in the Bank. Hot damn. Let us focus on the shenanigans here first, because I actually thought this was worked very well, and once again it didn't overstay its welcome. And listen, anytime Cody Rhodes was going to come back in a situation like this, I'm always going to give it an up. He calls himself QB1, and he's my damn hero. As for the future though, in this tag team match, it's not for me. And no, it's nothing against Logan Paul, and it's nothing against anybody else in that match. It's just not something I want to see at Money in the Bank. I searched my feelings and realised it was true. Now, I actually do like Rhodes and Uso being back together because it ties back into that awesome press conference when they just had a whale of a time, and in many ways that is when Jay jumped up to a next level because he was just so damn entertaining. I just do not get how you can ever justify John Cena teaming with Logan Paul, even if you do have this destroy wrestling idea. If I was John, I'd be like, hey, Bronson Reed, apparently you want to come back to wrestling. You're a much better destroyer. You now with me. So yes, there's nothing wrong with it, and as always, I want to make it clear, if you think this is the greatest thing to ever happen in the history of the world, not just pro wrestling, I am so happy for you. To repeat what I said earlier, wrestling is there to entertain you, so I just want you to be entertained. But this is one of the few WWE shows that ended. I was like, man, I don't want what they just advertised. That's very rare in my life. But I do put all of that in a bucket. I do have to give it a down. I'm sure it will be an over-the-top joy, because WWE does know how to book shenanigans, but I would much rather a singles match or something else, even though quite clear would do that at SummerSlam. But I can't lie to you, even though people go, oh, Miller, he just makes up how he feels. No, I don't. I'm an honest Harry. There it is, and it's getting it down. But overall, I shall give Saturday's main event an up, but I will say, if you fancy skipping this, you probably can. Although I would watch that opening tag match and the cage match, I thought they were pretty good, but it certainly wasn't a disaster or anything like that. So if you have 2 hours today, I'm pretty sure it's on YouTube, I will give it a minor up. Otherwise, my friends, make sure you let me know what you thought about the show in the comments below. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Click the video on the screen, which is ups and downs for SmackDown, the Wyatts are back, and I had a few things to say about that. But otherwise, just interact with the video. Have a lovely day. We will be back tomorrow with the AEW show. And if I can find time, I shall do NXT as well. I got that this week too. Oh, Simon, you're so biased. I'm a freelancer, damn it. I just do what I'm told. But it doesn't matter. I'm having a good old time. I love you too. Let's go on a date. See you then.